So we're talking today about fitness. Look at those guns.
Yeah, I don't mess around, Mel. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about fitness because
I want to hear you start.
One of my passions. Like, as we know, I've been pretty obsessed with fitness. I mean, it wasn't like I was when I was younger. I wasn't a real like competitive athlete or anything, but I was one of the boys. I grew up on a farm. I was the only girl and I was the youngest. So being active was always very much part of my DNA because I wanted to keep up. I didn't want to be excluded from anything. And so I had to keep up with the boys, which meant that I had to be very strong and fast and physical.
Yep.
And then I wanted to always be strong, right? Because just being strong transcends mind, body, spirit. So I wanted to be physically strong always. So I had different periods of my life when I got really into fitness, like where I was a gym rat, like before I got married. And then when I first met my husband, we started dating and he was like, oh, I go to the gym. And I was like, oh, great. So do I. Let's go to the gym together. And then it became clear after a couple months that he really didn't used to go to the gym and he was only going to the gym for me. And so he'd be like, no, you go to the gym. And so he stopped going to the gym and then I kind of stopped going to the gym because that's like what happens. Mm-hmm. And then when we got married, I wanted to get back in shape. So I went back to the gym. And then after I had Talia, my first baby, I was like, well, I got to do something to get my body back. So I got back into the gym. And then after Jessie was when it was like, oh boy, you got to figure this out. Because after Jessie, my metabolism tanked. Oh. And I gained back all my pregnancy weight without even realizing it. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of me. I actually need to share it because there's a lot of people that don't realize how overweight and out of shape I was.
Yeah, I definitely did not know that.
I was, and all my body weight goes on my tush and my legs. And so like, I was definitely chubby up top too, but like my butt, it was like, I was like a size 10, 12 pants without realizing it. I had basically 40 pounds of extra weight on me after I had Jessie. And so that's when I kind of like woke up and I was like, oh, no. And then I got really into it. And I had a mentor, my friend Sylvia, who basically kind of held my hand and got me into shape, like beyond anything that I ever thought was possible. The number of lunges and squats and jumps and craziness that this fabulous soul sister made me do changed my life. That planted the seed that then has sprouted into what really is now a lifestyle because it is a lifestyle. And I prioritize fitness on every level because, you know, everything about life is use it or lose it. We know this. It's like the basic principle of aging. And so our muscle mass, our bone density, our neurological kind of kinetic chain, it's use it or lose it. So every day that we're not using these systems, and of course our heart health, our cardiovascular fitness, but every day that we're not using it after the age of 30, and you and I are well past the age of 30 now.
Damn it.
Aging, but we're aging gracefully, right?
Yeah, I'm totally kidding.
Every day that we're not using it, we're losing it.
Yeah.
So it's much harder now at age 40 to keep the muscle mass and keep the neurological and cardiovascular fitness levels and agility, balance. I mean, it's all connected, literally and figuratively. And so I'm super passionate about prioritizing my fitness because I prioritize my quality of life. And as we age, having this be a priority, having our health and fitness. And health is just, if you're healthy, that means you can just do your basic day-to-day without feeling pain, being out of breath, you know, having our energy levels be low. That's basic health.
Yeah.
Fitness is how much above and beyond could you do? Like if I said to you, oh, Mel, let's go for a bike ride today up to New Paltz.
Yeah.
You have to be fit to do that. Otherwise you'd be like, I don't know if I can go do that. I don't know if I can go rock climbing. I don't know if I can go hiking.
Right.
And so it's all about this quality of life and quality of adventure. It is really, really, really important. And so passion every day. I work really hard.
My mom calls health and fitness the fountain of youth, which I think is so true. You know, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination.
Not either.
Like I historically have used fitness and health as a core foundational piece of my emotional health because that's just, you know, such a big deal to me. And I'm a sensitive person. And it's like, it's important for me to have endorphins and to like really care about the physiology of my emotional state. If I'm not, I could easily be more emotional, which
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be. I'd
Yeah.
rather be feeling strong and, just confident and calm and in that sort of bigger love and all that stuff, a big piece of that is caring for my body by eating healthy food and, getting enough rest and then going and getting some exercise in some form to like get those endorphins for my body.
Yeah. I mean, the brain chemistry piece is real. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's kind of like cherry on top. Right? The fact that I'm
Yeah.
always so happy and tons of energy, like that's like a cherry on top, right? Because it's real, like the dopamine, the endorphins, like
Yeah.
it's real. And so like you said, the nutrition piece is really huge. Cause like if we break it down, we're like, all right, what are your goals? If your goal is to be as healthy and have the best quality of life possible, exercise every day. Like that is it, just without
Yeah.
question. If your goal is to look as good naked as possible, which why wouldn't that be a goal? I mean,
Hey.
it's a great goal, right? But that exercise is super important. Food is a bigger piece of that,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and you can't compromise the exercise. Like there's a minimum effective dose of exercise that
Right.
we all need to have to look as good naked and have the quality of life. But that's when nutrition becomes a huge piece of it. And all of it, it's like, to me, why wouldn't we? And I love asking that question, right? Like, why wouldn't we prioritize this? And it's like, oh, well, what do we tell ourselves? We don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't have the time. I just don't have the time. All right. Bullshit. Right.
Right.
Bullshit. Like there's always time. It's just priorities. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, oh, well, gosh, I don't know where to start. I know it's so far out of my comfort zone. Like, where do I even start? I'm scared.
Yep.
Which is totally understandable. Right. And all of these blocks are totally able to be overcome.
Yeah.
And so my encouragement, AKA challenge to anyone, is really call yourself out. Like, why the fuck wouldn't you be doing this for yourself? Like gifting
Yeah.
yourself with this, because then you're going to be able to gift everyone in your life a higher version of yourself, more
Yeah.
energy, more positivity, whether it's the brain health, the physical health.
Yep.
You're going to be able to show up for your people
Mm-hmm.
with so much more capacity if you care for yourself in this way.
Yeah, definitely. I was listening to a podcast this week with Rich Roll on Lewis Howe's podcast, and Rich Roll is like this ultra marathon athlete, vegan, used to be like an alcoholic and just super unhealthy, just like, that type of story of like really unhealthy guy, emotionally destitute, like, and just sort of really changed his life. And it was cool because, I mean, his story is obviously very extreme. But one thing that he said was like, if he were asked like, which is like more important to start with. Mm-hmm. And he said that it's more important to start with the nutrition piece of health, because like, as you just said, like you can only do so much with exercise.
Yeah.
And like, if you're eating French fries and crappy food and that just keeps your body low and keeps you in that, and like basically isn't fueling you in a healthy way, then there's really only so much you can do with exercise. And no,
it's absolutely true. And again, I mean, I wanted to actually pull up because I want to show you, because you've never seen this. I'm going to share a screen for a second, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Because this is like, it's no joke, really no joke, how overweight I was. And I didn't really take any pictures. Can you see this?
Oh yeah, there you are.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can't, because I did not let anyone take pictures of me during this period.
Yeah.
Clear. But like, look at my face.
Yep.
And look at my arm.
Yep.
I was really big.
Yeah.
Like really big. And I wasn't even aware of it. That's the craziest thing, right? Like I wasn't even aware of it. So
well, and it's
oh. And I stopped share, but I should be back now.
Oh, exit full screen.
Sorry.
No, it's good. I mean, and that's understandable, right? If you haven't had experience of another reality, as it were, then it makes sense. And also, if you don't know how to get there and how to do it, and it feels scary and challenging, like, of course you would kind of not want to do it. I think that's just so,
and a self-awareness too, because
understandable.
You can be like in denial, like full on denial. We're like, oh, it's not that bad. It's It's not really that bad. And when you have a new baby and a toddler, that's like a whole nother world of
Oh
not
my
just
gosh.
denial, but like it wasn't even really denial in my case. It was just that complete haze of selflessness. I didn't help.
Yeah.
Could be aware of whether myself had gained 45 or whatever it was pounds. Um, and when I woke up, it was like game on, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, and I know you're a lot like I am, and that we're both kind of pretty intrinsically motivated.
Yeah.
But I was like, and then I did all the things that, were really helpful. I got like exercise buddies. I like told everyone in my life, I'm like, are
Yeah.
you aware of the fact that I've gained
Accountability.
40 pounds? Like told everyone, like, I'm going to lose this weight really fast. I started asking for help, finding resources, like friends that had gotten in shape, um, signing up for every free personal training session at every possible gym, right? Because I didn't belong to a gym at that point. So I was like, I'll just go to every gym and like just work out with everyone I can. And on the like the school auction is where I met my
Yeah.
friend Sylvia.
Oh,
And so it
cool.
was like literally being resourceful in all the ways that we can find the resources,
Yeah.
change, and don't give up,
Hmm.
and love yourself and be gentle with yourself through that really, really uncomfortable period. Because
Yeah.
oh God, I
Yeah.
felt,
I've talked
I was
about
ashamed.
discipline.
I was like, it's
Oh
horrible.
yeah. Well, of course, that first part is so hard. Like the getting back into or starting something new, like of any kind of habit building
Mm,
or any kind of like new challenge or new effort. I think in fitness, it's just very obvious. Like there's a piece of where you have to sort of really engage discipline and say, I'm committed to this no matter how hard it is or how it feels. I'm going to take action in this
yeah.
direction. Not in a dangerous, unhealthy type way physically. That's not what I mean, but meaning like in a follow through thing.
Whether you
That's why
feel like it or not, right?
yeah,
Like
when you
whether you
talk
feel
about
like it or not.
accountability and like taking action that you don't want to take, like actually doing it when it's so much easier to say no tomorrow, or oh, I'll do it the next day. Oh, I'm too tired today. Oh, I have to do this thing or that thing. It's yeah, it reminds me of the time when I think I've mentioned this story with us before, maybe not, but I was traveling professionally skydiving, and I was committed to doing the insanity workout with Shanti. Did I tell you
Hmm.
this?
No, tell me.
Anyway, it's like this DVD set, and it's this whole like 60-day or 90-day thing or whatever. I can't remember how long, but because I was traveling so much for skydiving, and it's so hard to work out on the road and having no routine. It's just like I had to cultivate some sort of intense commitment and unwaverable follow through. So I would get up in the morning in Finland, go outside with my laptop because there were people sleeping in the house, put my laptop on a chair. This was when the CDs still went in the laptops.
Right.
Myself and do this workout outside before going and organizing and coaching skydiving for 10 hours, like,
Hmm.
and doing that for 5 days straight. But like, that's the level of follow through that I needed to have in that period of my life, because otherwise, and I feel like, I mean, I don't think you necessarily have to have that level of intensity, but I think you need it if you feel like you've got other things stacked against you for follow through.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing too about all of this. There's been so many advancements over the last bunch of years around the science behind fitness and the minimum effective dose of fitness. And so
Yeah.
like when I was, because I after I got really fit with Jesse, a lot of my friends were like, Pam, will you help me get in shape? And
Yeah.
so I was helping people, and then eventually when my friends were like, no, I want to pay you, and I was like, all right, well then I should probably get certified. So I've been a certified personal trainer for about 10 years now
Cool.
and all that stuff. So I actually have knowledge around this.
Yeah. I
I'm
love
kind of
it.
like an expert.
This is great.
Yeah,
You've
but
done the work. Yeah. Yeah.
I've,
Yeah.
I've
Go
done the
ahead.
work. And so I used to spend like 6 hours a day in the gym because that's what my job was. And that's where I was. And in between clients, like that's what I was doing all day long. And of
Wow.
course I was in great shape because I was working out like 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I loved that. Now, as you and I both know, I'm doing a lot of other stuff. And so I don't have 6 hours a day to work out. So over the last bunch of years, I've really gotten focused on, okay, what is the minimum effective dose of the strength training, of the high intensity kind of cardio intervals, of the stretching and the yoga and all of that. And I've gotten very kind of scientific with the help of coaches, because other people I've learned from other people. So now I only work out maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes a day. And so it's a totally different routine. And I literally am in the best shape of my life.
Awesome.
So it's so attainable. And yes, the 20 to 30 minutes is hell and you feel like you're going to die. And that's, I mean, it's that level of commitment. Yes, commitment to the intensity and commitment to the routine, the follow through. And it doesn't need to be hours of your day. It doesn't need to be such a big time commitment. There's really no reason why we can't find 20 to 30 minutes, maybe like even just twice a week, 3 times a week, to be in great shape and have the benefits for in all areas of our life, our mental, emotional, kind of physical health.
Yep.
And it's so worth it.
So worth it. Yeah, it's hard to be motivated by that. It's funny how fitness and nutrition can be some of the hardest things for people to do, to change their habits around. Yeah. And I've seen this in myself. Like sometimes when I put fitness and nutrition on an accountability list, I almost resist it more. You know what I mean? Like that phenomenon is so fascinating to me. One time in my life, and I'm not there at this moment, but one time in my life where it's not, I guess that I'm not there. I'm just sort of 50-50 these days around this mindset. But like I had the shift of instead of going to the gym being torture, which I think most people feel that way. Like, oh God, I have to go exercise, or, oh, I have to go to the gym. There's like all this stuff in the way.
Yeah. The negative mindset.
I got to the point where I went so much so consistently that it shifted to, I was excited to go. Yay, this is for me. This is some version of self-care and self-love, and it's me time and a break. Like I had achieved the reframe. You know what I mean? So I feel that 50% of the time today, but like I can also earnestly say some days I'm like, I'm back in that, like, I just kind of want to lay down or rest or whatever.
And it's a mindset game. And I will also tell you that I did an experiment after I had Jessie. You're exhausted. Babies don't sleep, in case you weren't aware of that. Like babies, like this whole concept of, oh, you're not going to get any sleep. No, you really don't get any sleep. But I did this experiment for 2 weeks where I either went to the gym or I took a nap. And I kept track for 2 weeks straight.
Yep.
And it was literally 100% of the time. If I took a nap, I stayed tired all day. If I went to the gym, I felt great.
Wow.
So I did that for 2 weeks. I haven't taken a nap since, unless I'm sick. But literally I was like, why would, and I know some people are so pro nap and hey, maybe it's not for everyone, but try this for yourself. Like just try it. Like, okay, I'm going to do a 2-week experiment. If I'm feeling tired, I'm either going to go to the gym or I'm going to take a nap. And then I'm going to document afterwards how the rest of my day feels, how I feel, how I sleep that night, and how I feel. Try it for yourself, because for me, it was 100% of the time. If I went to the gym, I felt great. I slept great that night. I felt great mentally, physically, spiritually.
Yeah.
And so literally that was like a rewired or a permanent reframe, because if I listened to the voice that said, oh, you're too tired to go to the gym, like, oh, you don't feel like going to the gym, I would override that. Like, what the fuck, Pam? I'm like, shut up. 100% you did this, because I'm a science girl. I'm like, evidence-based research, right? 100% of the time, if you go to the gym, you will feel great. So get your ass to the gym. Like, what are you doing? And so that for me was the shift, where after that, I may not want to go to the gym. Like I may be like, okay. And I know that's the prescription for me to feel my best.
Yeah.
Like get my ass to the gym.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing the power of it. It's like for the people in the resistance, and I say the people, meaning myself, certainly in that occasionally as well. It's like, it's so annoying that that's the case.
Well, if you
because
think
it's the
about it
case.
too, it makes
It,
sense, right? The gym and the food stuff are probably our two biggest kind of physically sensual situations around comfort,
mhm.
right? It is not comfortable by design. Like going to the gym, if you're comfortable, you're,
Yeah.
you're not doing it right. Like
Yeah.
it is the definition of getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So of course, our comfort part of our brain that's wired for survival and hates change and hates discomfort, it's going to fight tooth and nail. And
Mhm.
food's the same thing, because all of that yummy, sensual, the refined grains,
Yeah.
processed foods, all the sugar, all the
Can't even
crap,
touch that
the
stuff
salt and the
anymore.
fat, like the French fries in our mouth to our brains. It's telling us that, oh, this is so good. And I encourage people that are still in that place of eating that crap and thinking that it's a treat, and you deserve a treat because
Oh,
you've worked really hard or
right.
whatever,
Right.
that it's a treat. Is it really a treat? It may taste good for a second, but how does it feel in your mouth? How does it feel when you swallow it? How does it feel in your body? How do you
Agreed.
feel 5 minutes later? How do you feel 30 minutes later? Pizza is not a freaking treat. It's like, how does pizza taste when you first taste it? It's like, woo! How do you feel after you've had pizza a half an hour? You're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's not a treat. So
Mhm.
reframe around, like, what is a treat? Like, what does your body really crave? Like, what's the
Yeah.
fuel? What's the nutrition? And get out of the mindset that ice cream is a treat. It's
Yep.
not. If you really
Yeah.
research what ice cream is, it is not a treat. Cake, cookies, all of the
Mhm.
sugar and the fat, that's not a treat.
Mhm.
Real nutrition is a treat. Like our cells need, our muscles need, our heart needs
Yeah.
real nutrients. Like that's the
Finding
treat.
finding healthy food that feels like a treat that I really love eating, that's been a crucial part of me being able to maintain healthy eating, big picture. I also tend to go the route of not having the stuff around. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can't have it around. If it's
Yeah, agree.
around,
Especially by the evening.
eventually, like
By
I'll
the
be able to
evening,
resist
especially.
it if I'm strong and I'm feeling a strong day. But if I have a rough day, or if I, just like
Don't have it in the house.
I cannot have it around, eventually I will break and eat it. It's true. I
You're
completely found
human.
that. Like,
There's research
no,
that you only have so much willpower through the course of the day. And
yeah,
especially by the evening, you get tired and you kind of regress into the habitual, I'm just tired, I just want to feel better
right,
place. And
exactly.
to be mindful late in the day is harder. And so just don't have it in the house. Like, absolutely, which is hard because I have a husband and children who not necessarily on board with all this. And so for me, I just remember I really stay focused on loving and honoring and respecting my body, and asking myself before anything goes in my mouth, is this something that my body really would love?
Yeah,
Not my mouth, not the part of my brain that's feeling tired and lousy and wanting comfort or water. And self to find comfort and pleasure in other things, like go take a hot shower,
yeah,
have a cup
exactly.
of tea, a warm cup of tea,
Yep.
like go get a hug from my kids, like
That's a
notice.
great idea. Where can we source comfort in
Mm,
other ways? Because
mhm.
if you're using food as comfort, it's
Yeah,
great
you're
to have
screwed.
sort of a list of things to be able to substitute for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And it's only natural that this is going to be hard, especially for most of us raised in households where food was the reward, right? Like,
Yeah,
oh, you did so great on your test. Let's go get cupcakes. Or,
right.
oh, did you get hurt? Here, have a cookie. Oh, come here. I made you this delicious, cake. It's love. Of course, the brain cells that fire together wire together. So for
Right.
most of us, food is wired into that comfort, pleasure circuitry in our brain. So it's only natural.
Yeah.
It's understandable. And now we need to rewire our brain.
Yeah.
So food isn't that.
What would you suggest to people who want to get into the fitness, want to say, okay, you know what? Damn, I'm ready. Like, I acknowledge I'm not in a good spot. Like, what would you advise to people wanting to get fit?
Well, first of all, you can reach out to me. I'll talk to anyone right now for at least a half an hour and give you kind of the resources of where you're at and what fits in. I love any of your people are my people. So you can
Of
always just reach
course.
out to me and I'll talk to anyone. But there's a bunch of really great resources out there. And depending on how intrinsically motivated someone is, or if someone needs help, I mean, see if you can get a good personal trainer, because having a coach, having a trainer that knows and can help you get into a routine that works for you is key. The reality is most of us need more help than like a once a week personal trainer, because especially we're talking about the food and the rewiring of our brain. I used to work for and run a behavioral therapy based food and weight program, the Beacon program, which is great for the kind of dialectic behavioral therapy changes we need around food. Like if someone really struggles with food addiction, because a lot of us do, we're addicted, and you have a food addiction problem. If you want to make a change, and this is like addiction of any sort, right? You know that you're making choices that are out of alignment with your big goals that you can't change.
Mm-hmm.
That's addiction. Like that's compulsive. Like it's somewhere on the spectrum of a compulsive behavior or an addiction, right? Like if you try to stop eating the cookies, eating the sugar, eating the cake, in my case, it's more the fat and the salt, like the popcorn. Like that's my
I know
pistachios.
popcorn.
So I
I know, me
switched to
too.
pistachios because pistachios are like healthy-ish, but I eat way too many of them, right? So it's like, I'm human too.
Yeah.
But there are programs out there like the Beacon program. There's another woman, Susan Pierce Thompson, I think her name is, Bright Line Eating. Is another really great program. If you're struggling to make the changes on the food side of it, then there's so many great resources out there to help you actually make the change. And then on the fitness side, there's so many great options. But I would say get educated about the minimum effective dose.
Yeah.
My friend Lorenzo Delano, his blog, he's got a lot of great stuff on that. There's people like Ben Greenfield.
What's that blog website?
LorenzoDelano.com.
Okay.
And then Mind Valley is actually launching a quest soon with Ben Greenfield.
Okay.
That it's the Look Good Naked program. I don't know how long it's going to be before it launches, but I've seen the program because Lorenzo is actually helping make it.
Nice.
So I've seen it, and it's awesome. And it includes things like the hot cold therapy, because when we really start talking about longevity, we want to be taking into account all of our systems, which I don't know how much you know about, like the cold plunge and the hot sauna. Like
I don't know a lot about it, but I've heard.
Yeah, the science is there. I mean, the science shows us that increases our cardiovascular and our neurological health.
Wow.
So we live longer if we subject ourselves to that torture, which again, it's out of the comfort zone to suddenly submerge yourself in, maybe 50-degree or 48-degree water, right?
Yeah.
It's not comfortable. You feel like you're dying.
Oh my gosh.
And it gets the results. So do you want to take 5 minutes of feeling absolutely awful to then feel great the rest of your day and the rest of your life? Right. Yeah, I do. I do. I'm willing to be uncomfortable for 5 minutes to get results that help me live longer and be healthier and have a great quality of life and show up for my people and do my best work. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Bring it on, motherfucker.
I'm like,
what do you got for me?
Turn the tub on, run the cold water.
It's intense, but it's good.
I love it.
And I think I've told you, I'm hopefully in the next few months opening a New York City bricks and mortar fitness business that will have all of this.
More about that. Yeah.
Well, there's this machine. Again, this is all like Lorenzo introduced me to all this stuff, so I'm just so grateful. But there's this machine called the ARX that it's computerized, and it maxes you out weight-wise, force-wise, both concentric. So the concentric is when you're contracting your muscle. And the eccentric, when you're lowering, extending your muscle, you can actually hold like 4 or 5 times the weight or more.
When you're lowering it?
When you're lowering, as you can when you're raising. But usually like traditional weightlifting, you can't suddenly stack your weight 5 times. You couldn't get it up to then lower.
Yeah.
So ARX does it all computerized mechanically. So it maxes you out every moment. And so you work out like 1/10 the time, but you get 10 times the result. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. So you can work out for like 10, 15, 20 minutes once a week and get the muscle mass that you would if like you could never actually achieve in a traditional strength training regimen. Like it's impossible. It's unbelievable. It's so cool. So hopefully, and I've been using this machine for the last almost 6 months now. And that's why one of the reasons why I'm in the best shape of my life. So there's that. And then there's a bunch of other like biohacking things like the cold plunge, the cold tub. There's infrared lights. There's all kinds of stuff. There's the electromagnetic pulsing. There's all this stuff that
Yeah.
science shows you gets you the results. So again, it's like if you have access to the latest gadgets that actually work as opposed to all the fad stuff.
Right.
I remember like in the 50s. Like,
I think that's part of the unknown, or the fear is like, is this actually going to work?
Yeah. Well, the cool
know?
thing, the ARX, it's all empirical. So you can objectively see, okay, last week that was my max. This week, this is my max.
Cool.
3 months ago, I could only like, the amount of weight that I'm able to lift now is insane. I never thought in a million years I'd be able to be as strong as I am.
Yeah.
But you can see how each week over week, you're increasing your strength.
Awesome.
And then you can look week over week how you're increasing your muscle mass.
That's
so
awesome.
I would encourage everyone, not necessarily to track your weight, but to get a scale or find a way to measure your muscle mass and your fat. So you can see that, okay, I may weigh a little more, but my muscle percentage is up to 35% and my fat percentage is down to, 18%.
Love it.
So you see week over week that your body is changing, your body's getting stronger. And muscle mass is the highest kind of predictor of overall physical health. So muscle mass is tied to all your other systems. If you can only look at one thing, yeah. And like you're protected from injury, your metabolic rate goes up. Like if you're going to track one thing, track how much muscle you have, because that's the best indicator of how healthy you are.
Love it.
Cool stuff. Girl. Yeah. And muscle mass is tied to bone density, because strength training is how you increase your bone density. And as we get older, we need to worry about osteoporosis.
Yep.
So you and I need to be strength training to keep our bones as strong as possible as we age.
Love it. Yeah. You are the expert on today's call, my love. And I love that. Thank you for sharing your wisdom.
Thank you for listening.
I love it.
And know that I got you. If I can.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
I feel once like I open, you're coming in New York City. You're
hell yeah. Of course I am. I am so in. You don't even know. Like, yeah, half the time it's like I go outside and I do a run, or, I'll do something just in my living room and, do some push-ups and sit-ups and squats and stuff like that. So making the most of the environment that I have available at the moment, like really making use of it. Like I feel like that's something that the traveling did help me get out of my own way, is that like the excuse of like, oh, I need a certain environment or whatever, like the world tour. I mean, that's when I was running like around the world, quite literally. That was a big emotional thing too, of course, like really needing the endorphins, like as I was going through a big grief process, but like, but learning and really like having that, like no excuse, like 100% going, and really using it, like going, I could be anywhere in the world and still sort of make this happen. So like that whole, like, oh, I need a gym or I need a thing. It's really not the case. We can make do with what we have available. And that can serve us as a baseline starting point till we get to that place where we can go to your new awesome gym, and we can do whatever other thing that maybe calls to us. Yeah.
No excuses, like every area of our life.
Yeah.
No excuses. If you catch yourself making any kind of limiting statement, like, oh, I can't. If you, in any area of your life, say I can't about anything, be like, wait a minute, I can't? Really?
Agree.
Like, really? Let's call a spade a spade. You won't. And how come? And is that really of service?
Yeah.
Right? There's no such thing as I can't. There really isn't.
I love you. I love you.
Oh, this has gotta be good. This has gotta be good.